Okay, this is your idea. But I think this is a good idea. As we're in December and we're coming up to the end of the year, you thought it'd be a good idea to sort of run through our thoughts and recap on the end of the year and provide some commentary on one of our favourite films. If not, I think it's my favourite project we've worked on.
Yeah, same with me.
So, of course, we are talking about Made in Japan, which was a documentary-style film that we produced and published last year. So this is probably going to be a very long video, to be honest. But I feel like as it's the end of the year, and this is one of our favourite projects, this is a good sort of commentary to give a little recap and touch in on how we're doing. Because yeah, Made in Japan really set the tone for what we wanted to work on going forward. I think Made in Japan was the most loved from you guys. The comments on it are ridiculously positive. The video itself, which has been published for a year now, has amassed almost 1 million views, which
it's crazy.
I'm stoked about. We worked with an agency in tourism to sort of like plan this, and they had a whole sort of set idea. Originally, I think they commissioned us because they wanted just a vlog on my channel. And I said, no, I want to do more than a vlog. The project really touched my heart of going to see artists in their workplaces and studios. And I was like, this is an opportunity to make something really special. But at the same time, sponsored videos and videos of this nature, even videos of this length on YouTube, sometimes just flopped. I really thought it was going to be one of the most underperforming videos, simply because it was like a niche area and would probably be titled in a way that if you watched it, you enjoyed it, but it wouldn't have enough to make you click on it. Well, I'm so glad I was wrong about that because...
Yeah, and it's a style that we've never made.
It's going to be a long video. And we're going to have a drink just to, celebrate the year. All right, so Made in Japan. Let's play this and... Okay, off we go. Straight away, just the music. Every time.
I forgot how it started. I was like, was this the first shot?
Japan. Famous for advanced technological growth, married with a deep-rooted culture of traditional precision and quality. It's no secret that I love Japan.
Unique titles, I didn't put those in any other video.
Culture, the ins and outs of everything that unifies it and makes it tick.
Japan.
Recently, I had the opportunity to work with the Ishikawa and Gifu prefectures to explore the area and meet some artists behind some of the greatest handcrafts of Japan. Ishikawa and Gifu are known as the central artisan hub of Japan. Located in the Chubu area, they produce some of the most...
The maps as well.
In Japan.
I remember I bought this plugin specifically for this.
In Ishikawa, in a city called Kanazawa.
I haven't used it since. I really should.
I forgot all these titles that you put in.
Yeah. Graphical overlays.
Kanazawa is the
That's just a
capital of
PNG.
Ishikawa and is known as one of the most prestigious cities in the history of Japan. The city's beauty is reflected in the premium feel to it and bespoke nature of the place, with amazing streets to wander and fantastic food to eat. There are also gardens with pristine quality to lose yourself and gain inspiration from.
Colour and the detail in this as well. Kanazawa.
Yeah, so... Intro already is an interesting story.
Was it a 6 or... I think it was a 5-day trip.
Was it?
I think it was... We were in and out quick. It was less than a week. Yeah, so... So planning and production with the agency started around July or so. And they were coming to us with like a travel itinerary of places that we could go to, and they were going to be providing translator and like everything for us pretty much. And it was all set to be in the first week of September. I'd recently just made good contact with Apple. And of course, every year, the first week of September, or second week at least, is when new iPhones come out. And I was wasn't officially told, but was of the premise that I would be going to the iPhone event of that year. But because it wasn't officially mentioned, and it was one of those things where no one really talks about the dates or anything, because no one can talk about the dates, I just had to go with what my gut said the date was going to be. So when it came to this project and they gave us the dates, I was like, that's the day after the iPhone event. Can we maybe do a different date? long story short, back and forth every day for weeks. The dates were set in stone because of how intense this itinerary was. Further long story short, I went to the iPhone event, and the aim was that I was going to arrive in Japan a day later. So you did all the filming on the first day in Kanazawa. The trouble was, I missed my flight and I got stuck in LA overnight. Bearing in mind, LA is at 9 hours behind GMT, and Tokyo, or Japan, is 9 hours ahead. So by missing my flight, I was already a day behind with the time zone. Was going to be
Were you meant to catch
2
my
days
flight?
behind. Well, that was one of the things. Like, could I make it back to London to get on your flight to go?
I can't even remember now.
Because you had the Welsh rugby team on your flight.
Yeah, that was the best.
Because it was on the way to the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, timing-wise, obviously, yeah. They had to go a month earlier to prep, and I saw the Welsh rugby team.
Yeah.
Like, the original plan was you coming back to London to get the same flight that I was going to go on.
That was what I was pushing for.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen in the end. In the end, the flights that they booked for me were via, it was San Francisco via LA to Tokyo. And I was really pushing to get one that was San Jose to London, and then from London to Tokyo. And that would have been the same flight as you. But they weren't so happy with the timing of it. I could have made it work because I was traveling light anyway to the Apple event. Anyway, as it happened, my first flight, San Francisco to LA, was delayed by about 4 hours or something. And so I arrived at LA as my flight to Tokyo took off.
I just remember you texting me, being like, I can see my plane, I'm not on it.
So I got stuck in LA and it was a horrendous night. I felt like the only person in the airport. It was noisy. It was crazy. I tried booking a hotel to stay somewhere, but because I arrived at 2 a.m., when you choose the date to book your hotel, I thought, well, it's not technically today's date. I actually need yesterday's date. Eventually booked somewhere, and they were like, no, there's no booking. So I spent the night in the airport pretty much, trying to stay as awake as possible because I had unreleased iPhones with me. In the meantime, I was also trying to edit my iPhone videos. Got to Japan eventually. And I didn't realize, I just hadn't quite worked out the itinerary from Tokyo to where we were going. I knew it was a Shinkansen for like 3 and a bit hours. And I thought, brilliant. On that train, I can edit. I didn't realize that when I arrived, I then had a 4-hour bus journey.
It was long.
From Ishikawa up to Wajima.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because, you missed the whole first whole day of filming. And I filmed the intro to all of it. Usually I'm okay with sleeping on the flight, but that flight, I couldn't. I think I was just stressed out about Joe trying to get to Tokyo as well, that I just couldn't sleep. And when I landed, it was like land at 7 a.m. and go straight into filming. Like I had to go from Tokyo to Kanazawa and just go straight to filming. And it was so hot that day as well. Well, it was so hot the whole week. Everyone was like, it's never been this hot. Like in September, I just remember being like, I'm so jet lagged. I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm filming the whole day.
So yeah, you filmed the whole first day of Kanazawa, and then I had to relive it by watching through Elly's footage. At least some of the food, like the gold leaf stuff, I got to have locally as well. So I was able to experience that, which is what the whole Kanazawa bit was about anyway. So I didn't really miss out too much.
So you arrived at like 11:30?
I arrived super late, and I still edited my iPhone video that night and published it. So I stayed up a good few hours and then got up at 6:30 or 7 a.m. and I was perky. I was so surprised. I was wide-eyed, bushy-tailed. I was ready to go. And you were half asleep.
I was so jet lagged. I was like, I'm exhausted. I think just from all the adrenaline of your drama and people trying to collect you, and because other people had to come out from.
On the train they gave me so many energy drinks. They gave me like a carrier bag, just like full, of energy drinks.
And they were like, wake up, you have to film.
I'm fine. The editing, kind of falling asleep on the train. But
yeah, I ended up drinking them.
I'm amazed it all came together. The iPhone video is published near enough on time to what I wanted. We came away. There's more to this
We'll carry on.
Drama of the editing. But anyway, Kanazawa.
Known as the town of gold leaf and making over 99% of all gold leaf products in Japan, Kanazawa is undoubtedly the place to experience this delicate art.
I'm proud of my filming here.
Yeah, it's great.
Multiple sheets of gold are pounded together to an impossibly thin 1/10,000th of a millimeter before being applied to various kitchen.
I love the music on this bit, just the
The
strings.
raw nature of the gold leaf can only be described as magical. Just a small breath of air or even the heat from your hand is enough to move it.
And the sound of the people in there, it sound like an audience.
You're sure to find many gold leaf products. And the high chance that it originated.
I love this shot.
Oh, the food there was so good. Oh my god, the amaebi there. Oh.
Along the northern peninsula.
So this
of
was where I
Ishikawa Prefecture,
arrived.
You'll come to a city called
Look at the
Wajima.
distance from there to Tokyo. It's
Famous for Wajima Nuri, a particular type of lacquerware.
I really want to
We
go
were
there.
introduced to the process of the lacquerware in a workshop situated at the back of a master's home. Upon entering his home,
His
we realised
home,
that
my
this was
God.
a workshop with
I just want to say all the people that we met. I mentioned it in this video as well, but the artists, the craftsmen, they were just so like personally humble. You just immediately could tell when you like hung out with them just how dedicated they were. But also they were just so like kind of, I don't know, like kind of cute about it, weren't they? Like this guy just stood in his doorway and I think you spotted it first and like sent me away to go and film. You're like, go film. So I did, but then he's like, oh, I'm in the shot, and walks out, and I was thinking like, no, I wanted a shot of you in the place.
Luckily, I was filming.
But the shot we did get is happy with.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a funny thing because, I mean, you speak Japanese. I speak like the smallest, tiniest amount. I can understand, the direction of where things are going, but just trying to ask for those little things, like I couldn't just say, oh, do you mind just coming back? Because it becomes a big thing and it's just...
Yeah, you want like candid shots of them just in action. But what I think is funny is when we were walking around, we were going to this location and we came across like the edge, like the side of this house, and we were like, oh my god, this is so nice, and started filming. And then they were like, okay, let's go in now.
This
we're
is
like,
the one.
what? We're going in? I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, the house is amazing. It's
it's incredible.
Again, just looking at this shot, like I feel like
I
this
think
was
the
the
grading
last,
is really good on it, by the way.
it's the start of cine scenes. This was the first full project that I used all the LUTs on, and I feel like this was the real pinnacle of where we fully understood how the GH5 would work in our workflow. So this was filmed on GH5 and GH5S.
We did have a lot of experience doing our Japan rail series.
Well, that was how this project came about.
Yeah.
Good segue there.
Hey, we've got the
Yeah, that is very true, actually. The reason that this project, how the agency sort of reached out to us, it was because of the rail series that we made in January of that year, which got published like May to June later that year. That whole 4-part series was sort of a statement for us of the types of work and projects that we want to be working on and what we'd like to be hired for. And we did. We got hired for this because of what we made for the rail series.
Yeah, I think in the email they highlighted the second vlog of Japan Rail series and was like, we really like this pace and how you've shown like the hotel or the area, the location through this video, and we would love for that kind of video to be for this project. And that was kind of like the
brief.
Brief of it all. But then we also, actually, another thing, when we filmed this, you vlogged as well, you didn't know whether it was going to be a vlogging thing.
That's true.
You didn't know if it was going to be a voiceover. We just filmed so much of it and then tried to work it out afterwards. Yeah, we didn't know the direction. We just kind of all obviously came together at the end.
Yeah.
But you were vlogging. Yeah. There are vlogging bits here.
Yeah, so when we started filming this, and we obviously had the itinerary, and it was a very well set out and prepared sort of plan. In terms of the actual video and what we were making, didn't really have like a true idea. There were a few like options of things, and I knew that I didn't want to make a vlog, but at the same time that was a high risk because we hadn't made something like this. I was thinking like, well, I need to still vlog as a backup just in case. And for those of you who vlog, you'll know that one of the trickiest things is actually vlogging if you haven't done the intro. Unless you've opened it and just set the tone of what it is you're trying to do, it's so hard to just vlog from a position midway through. And I was really conscious that I just hadn't opened this video. I don't think I did until day 3. So I had some bits with like a background rice field. Even that was my second or third attempt because I tried something the night before. But the background was super noisy because there were all those insects and even a waterfall or a stream behind, and it just didn't feel right. I tried so many times to open it as a vlog, and I think in the end I just kind of gave up on the idea. I was like, well, we're getting really good shots, and I think it was on the second day we got some epic macro stuff.
Well, yeah, this day.
Yeah, and I was like, okay.
Well, again,
we can work with this.
Again, no macro shots in the first day because you had the lens.
Oh, it's true. Yeah. So this, so that's another thing. So this lens, the Canon EF 100mm 2.8 macro, I bought this specifically for the timing of this. So I knew that I wanted to use it in the iPhone videos, and I also thought it was going to be great for this because we were seeing handcrafts and it's a great way to show detail. I didn't realize just how great this lens would be for this project. It took it to a whole different level, and I think also the timing of the fact that we just bought it meant that we were so excited to use it.
It's a great like product.
Yeah.
Lens.
It just allowed us to see things differently, which meant that we were getting exciting and inspiring shots.
Yeah, our filming was definitely different to Japan Rail series.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe that also steered in the direction of how this came about. I don't really know. Let's just carry on.
These shots here, when I was capturing them, I was imagining the titles, and I was thinking, this is how we can set the scene with the graphics. And
the craft of making these products can take over a year to produce.
Yeah,
up to 100.
This is what I wanted to be, as like documentary shots.
When was the last time you watched this?
It's clear that this is a craft that has been.
I watched it one night when you went out for drinks or something.
This house alone.
Went out for drinks?
Yeah, I watched it alone.
Someone's home and their craft in the same space, and be able to distinguish the difference.
Do we have a shot of my feet because they don't fit in these? I mean, yours barely do as well.
Together.
Yeah, they were very small.
Yeah, I think my shot was like comically my feet were longer.
No, I remember your slipper fell.
We ate from bowls that were well over 60 years old, yet they still felt like they were only brand new items. I tried my hand at carving a design into one of the bowls, and through my experience as a designer working with craft knives and packaging prototypes,
I am very proud of our shots.
The shots, they're like sharp and great lighting and just very considered.
We did film so much though. So we took the best of the best, obviously.
These are the films and like the projects that I want to be doing.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to do with the R5. And I'd love to get a cine camera and just like some, I don't know, just some depth in the lenses, but we just haven't been able to do that this year. And it's like it's eating me alive. I want to be making this again, but better.
Up until only a couple of hundred years.
Oh my god, yeah.
Plain designs and
I was gonna say, I've not seen this like since last year. I think I'm not really sure, but I don't know if it's gonna come up. Actually, no, you haven't put that hotel in, have you? The really nice one.
No, we got some. You mean like shots of the room and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, none of those made it in. I don't think any of the hotels really made it in.
Yeah, I don't think it did. But just looking at that food scene.
I mean, it was all about the art for our sort of take on it, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was so much behind the scenes on this trip that was...
That hotel was so nice. It was beautiful. Oh my God, yeah, I would love to stay there again. Oh yeah, I just really loved that. Was it in Ishikawa?
Yeah.
Was it near Kanazawa? Because we went
Kanazawa,
we went back. And then came back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember also, like, obviously we had a full day of filming, and then we come back and then we're fed a feast. You could just feel it in your eyes. You're just like, the day is hanging off you, and you've got all of this food to eat. You're like, I want to eat it, but I also want to sleep. Yeah. And I need to import, and I need to like charge batteries.
I feel like for us we were like, no, we have to get up early because the itinerary is early. Like we have traveling to do. So, but yeah, the food went on for like 2.5 hours. It would finish at like 10. Import everything.
It's like 10-course meals every night.
Yeah. And then it'll be...
Not even kidding.
And then be importing all the photos or like videos. That was like midnight. And then we'd be like, okay, great. We're still late. Like we're still not getting an early night. I mean, obviously it's work trip, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, just...
I mean, I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Because it was a trip with the tourism board, they want to host you as best they can. But yeah, I think we had 4, maybe 5 kaiseki nights.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, when we got given...
Kaiseki's multi-course.
Yeah, when we got given the itinerary, they even said to us, like the agency said to us, that's a lot to film. Please don't feel obliged to film everything. Even though we did, of course, you have to. It was still a lot of activities, a lot of travel, all within, is it 5 days? Or 6 days?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was intense.
Simple in their structure.
Oh, you need to go to Kanazawa.
This was with the 42.5mm, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the GH5S.
Yuzen refers to the process of applying illustrative and decorative artwork to silk.
I think one of my favourite shots, I've got multiple favourite shots that are probably going to change as we go through. One of them is coming up. I filmed of you doing this.
Oh yeah, you did like...
I really loved this little sequence here.
Elly had to go at some of the stencil dyeing process.
So weird, because obviously I was just so into doing the activity.
Yeah. You just look like a little girl. Just
I know.
Homework club.
Literally, I was reliving my textiles lesson.
Love this shot.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that's the shot I love. Yeah.
I literally had no idea. Oh, I still have
What even is that?
What do you mean?
It's like a potato, like...
It's the mascot.
Right.
Kanazawa mascot.
Okay.
Yeah. It's meant to be gold or red. No, gold. But it's funny because I have that canvas bag. I've got the Rummy Cubs tiles in it.
Oh, yeah.
So I still use it.
For me, it would have been cables.
Yeah. It's too cute for cables.
Here is a brief shot of what some of the food was like. So this is breakfast.
But this is the hotel.
Yeah.
That was, oh my God, the best. Yeah.
It just, like, food just wouldn't stop coming. And it's...
That was an epic.
Oh my God.
Yeah, breakfast before, the night before. Jug.
Yeah. So the staff who were bringing out the food to us, one in particular, she didn't really speak a word of English except for jug.
No, we taught her that.
Did we?
Okay,
so we taught her one word of English.
She was like, oh, I don't really know much. She was like, and she was topping up our waters, and then she was like, yeah, what's this? What's this in English? And we were like, jug.
And she was jug. And every time she came back in, it was jug.
Oh, the staff are amazing there as well. So friendly. We're very lucky to have stayed there. Very lucky.
Food. It literally is the epicenter of the culture.
Oh, that egg.
Families, homes, everything revolves around food. So it's no doubt that so much care and attention is not only placed into making
Remember how
food,
that smelled as well?
also the
Yeah,
items
you
that
liked it, didn't you?
Mm.
Oh my god, do you remember this place as well?
Museum, it was
What was that?
That was Takayama.
We're not in Takayama yet.
But that was Takayama, I swear.
No. Oh yeah, because I'm not even listening to what I'm saying. I'm talking about food as being central to the culture, which I feel like it is for a lot of cultures around the world. Just not really the UK.
Well, I guess food represents differently.
Community, innit?
In Asia, I guess. Or no, not even in Asia. In other countries, it means something. Imagine having this as a studio, though.
Oh my god, all of them. The lighting.
You're talking about the lighting.
Look at it. It's just this like soft, beautiful light coming in. So much space. Yeah.
Immediately apparent that the craft today is still performed in pretty much the same manner as it always has been. Using
I think this was where we started to use the macro a lot more. And we're like,
the surface of the pottery is
this is where we're going with it.
a special coating that helps the paint adhere to the surface.
The macro actually worked better on the GH5S,
It actually
by
makes
the way.
the whole process incredibly difficult because you can't touch the surface that you're actually painting on.
Oh.
This was almost a thumbnail.
Yeah.
That shot with the pencils. I think I used it as my IGTV thumbnail.
Yeah, I think you have.
It was mesmerizing to see the paint applied to the pottery, creating designs literally in seconds.
When the dude did this, the first time he did it, do you remember we were all just
like,
like
whoa.
It's so simple. But
yeah, just putting it
spin
down.
the surface, hold the brush, and all of us were like, whoa! This dude's a genius.
What an artist.
Simple minds. Yeah, this one.
I'm sorry, but so simple, but so hard to do.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Remember when you tried to do it and you were just like...
I had to ask him to wash my cup like 3 times because I just ruined it. Something because you can't touch the surface because it's coated in this like thing, so that the paint adheres to it. No, resin happens afterwards. Something that's brushed on, and it means that if you touch it, it transfers to your fingers and therefore it comes off the surface. So when you do paint without it, it just doesn't apply smoothly at all. And I've messed mine up so many times.
Yeah, I feel like your last go, like, was a forced last go because you'd asked.
Ran out of time.
Yeah, because I think we were like, shit, we have to get to the next location.
Oh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't. The scraping, the touching went right through my bones.
There's your face. Not again.
Come away with a cup that I've personally painted, and every time I look at it, I can remember the whole experience.
Marco still has your cup, right?
Yeah, it got sent to the wrong address.
Towards the 10,000 of becoming a master.
Look how tanned you are.
Only 9,990 more to go.
It was a hot
From
week.
Ishikawa, we travelled through to Gifu, populated with an incredibly patient, trustworthy, and very punctual people.
This was my
God.
favourite place, my favourite town for sure.
Heartland of Japan.
Some people
It's no
asked about
surprise
that
this
in
is an area
questions.
synonymous
Oh, really?
with
Yeah.
manufacturing and is famous for some of the most traditional handcrafts of Japan.
Oh yeah, so this is actually like a
Oh yeah, she can't. Well, oh yeah, I completely forgot about this.
yeah. So this is the pivotal sort of like half of the film because it was a joint sponsorship with Ishikawa and Gifu, 2 prefectures in Japan, kind of like a separate half to the project that we compounded together because it naturally worked really well. This is a nice looking shot. The separation
Also,
on the...
Do you remember how hot it was?
Oh, yeah.
It was boiling. And
I want to say like 37, 38 Celsius and humid.
And I think it was just really funny because Japan Rail Series, it was so cold.
Yeah.
So we'd experienced it in snow and like, I saw peak heat. But 2 completely different vibes and 2, I don't know which I prefer. Because summer was really nice with the flowers.
I think I prefer in the snow.
Yeah, I was going to say winter was more magical, especially when it was snowing.
We passed through Shirakawa-go, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We'd previously visited in the winter and saw it in a beautiful snowy landscape. This time around, things were a lot hotter and very luscious and green. The houses in the village are made from very traditional techniques with a lot of timber and tying processes. It has a great community presence, and you can really feel that everyone there plays a part in
textures.
Maintaining it. Mm-hmm. It was great to experience this unique village in another season, and you can definitely tell that the personality adapts and changes with.
I still remember the wood on my feet, like walking around in socks.
I can remember the smell. It's so weird.
Yeah. Flowers.
Taking the Nohi bus from Shirakawa-go, we ended up in Takayama, one of my favourite cities in all of Japan. A city nestled amongst woodland.
Takayama
is a source of
I love Takayama so much.
This is a region vastly proud of its woodworking abilities, and you can see it.
Again,
I miss Japan.
Seeing how this has all come together, and it feels like it flows so naturally, but I do remember this particular transition going from Ishikawa through to Gifu, and like adding in Shirakawa-go and to Takayama. I remember struggling like so hard on this bit for two reasons. One, because when we actually came to edit it, we split it in half. So the timeline, we put everything, like a huge amount of footage. I think it was like 4 and a bit hours worth in total. And then you took
the first half.
Mm-hmm. And then I took the second half, split almost prefecture for prefecture. But when it came to like merging them together, I just remember struggling really hard to make it fit. Whilst we're talking about how this was edited, actually, it's funny that just like with the very start of this project, when we were doing the iPhone edits, and I was editing that on the plane, on trains and all sorts, this video also was edited on mostly planes, because we had set deadlines for review, and every single deadline was when we had a future trip planned. So obviously we were going to Japan for the Rugby World Cup, and then we were going to Hong Kong, and then we actually went back to Japan for another project end of November, and our flying days ended up being the deadline days or near enough there. And I just had no time to edit. So piecing it together, the only sort of like free time I could do it was on a plane. And when we came back from the trip and we were sort of digesting what it was that we just filmed and how we wanted to make a film out of it, we again didn't really know how we're going to do it. And part of me thought maybe I'm gonna sit and sort of retell the story and film that. And we did film that whole thing.
Yeah, you were in this office.
And got the audio of it, which is kind of sat there, and couldn't quite get the way it looked in time, because I think we were heading to the airport that day, and had maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours or something.
I really don't remember this.
Yeah, it was awful. Like we'd written a script, and we're like, well, instead of focusing on getting the shot right, let's write the script, record the script.
Oh, yeah.
And then that way we can piece the film together. And then we can see where the gaps are and where things...
Was this before Tokyo Nightlife?
Yeah. This was before...
I thought you wrote the script after.
No, it was when we came back in between here and then going for the...
Oh, that 1 week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember doing the script.
So we filmed that. And to the point where instead of even looking at the camera, a lot of the time I was looking at my phone to see my notes and seeing what it was that I said. I sent it off for review saying like, this is a draft. And it ended up just being a bit of a fact check for the most part, because we said that we were just going to refilm it again and kind of say the same thing, but this time make it look presentable, which became the intention. And then it just changed, because after we edited it all together, we saw that there weren't actually that many gaps, as in gaps of film of me reading it. We're like, well, maybe we can just do the whole thing as a voiceover, which I hadn't done before as a film. And doing a voiceover is very difficult to do to make it come out naturally. But I think it, for the most part, did. But again, the day that we did that was when we were also heading out traveling. And that became it felt rushed at the time. We had plenty of time, but it whittled down very quick.
I feel like the only thing that I remember was when we wrote the script. Obviously, I was in here listening to you record it, but I just remember every single sentence or like every paragraph. I was like, no, you need to say it this way. Like you said it probably like 6 times in different ways because it just didn't flow.
Didn't give it justice to what we'd filmed.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it was all chapters at first, and it didn't flow as well as it did.
And then after we did that, I think we had about 20 minutes spare. I mean, spare. It wasn't really spare. It was just there were 20 minutes from when we'd finished recording to when we actually needed to leave the door. And I knew that I was going to have to edit this on the plane and in the airport pretty much, at least part of the first draft. So the only thing I could think of, because this was such an audio critical thing, I needed to get the audio processed and edited. I was like, if I just process the audio, I'll take 10, 15 minutes and I'll process the recording, get it cleaned up, get everything done to a level. Then it doesn't matter that I'm on a noisy plane. I can just edit to the words, not have to do all the precision of cleaning up the audio and whatever. And I managed to do it in that 10 minutes. I don't know how I did it in that 10 minutes. I just did. And then on the flight, I edited the whole, I think it was like an hour and a half of voice recording, managed to get it down to the like 25 minutes or something. And I was like, I'm almost there in terms of just the narrative for the thing. Then it was a case of finding all of the clips, and that took plenty longer.
Yeah, because that we did at Shinjuku Hotel.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
That was that the first draft deadline? No, the second draft.
Second draft, yeah. So it was essentially remaking the whole thing because we scrapped the film in here, did all the vocal recording, edited that down on the plane.
I remember thinking...
You were asleep on the plane.
I was.
And...
But I remember in that Shinjuku Hotel...
Up until like 5 a.m.
I was so tired. I was like, I literally cannot continue. I've done the first draft. You were trying to do the second, plus finessing a little bit of it because it was still such a massive edit that you had to do. I was like, this is still only a second one.
Yeah, but I didn't want to send another draft off with a load of caveats saying like, it will be better, it will be better. I was like, I want it to be at a level that people don't have to imagine. They can watch it and they can appreciate what it is.
There was a whole new video from first to second.
Yeah.
I think they probably would have been shocked.
Again, doing it in a bed, pretty much, just like slouched up against a headboard.
Yeah, it was...
Editing on a MacBook.
It was a very small
MacBook Pro. That was when we had do you remember Coke Energy, those drinks?
I don't.
There's that Coca-Cola energy drink. Tastes awful.
I can't remember because even that night, we had to get up early to film for another project. So I was like, I think I was just a zombie. I was like so tired from editing this.
And we messed up as well on the deadlines because we thought the deadlines were presented to us in UK time. But it,
but it
wasn't. It was Japan time.
So we were like, we have no time.
Of course it's Japan time.
Yeah, like we have to do it now.
Yeah, it felt so frazzled, but it gives me hope though, because if we can put together something like this in such a messy scenario, I'd love to know what's possible in a dedicated setup like we've got now, which is why I'm just more excited to make more things like this in the future. Anyway, so Takayama, one of my favorite cities in Japan.
Timber on the facades to the buildings aged.
You like it too, as well, yeah?
Yeah, I love Takayama. Grandpa loves.
Premium.
I love the
Grandpa loves Takayama.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he said it was his favourite too.
And architecture really add to a unique.
Do you not remember that conversation?
There is an old town popular with tourism, but it's the residential areas that really stood out to me. You can see how the
so nice.
Intertwines throughout.
I really miss it.
Design, and you can really feel it as an extra.
Isn't that weird? It's like going off the road, such a quiet road compared to that main part.
Highly regarded here.
Oh, this was a hot day as well.
Oh my god, but the lighting was beautiful. Golden hour.
Oh, there's an audio change that I love here.
Famous for
coming up.
Pristine and clean waters.
Well, this is your favourite town.
This is my favourite for this project.
Creates the Japanese blue fabric.
Oh, Japan
Indigo
blue, man.
Is iconic across all of Japan. You can see it in popular fashion, amongst official garments, and even in history from the samurai era.
This was so fun. I think it's funny because we obviously took turns in doing the activities.
Sorry, I was just going to say the first thing we noticed when we walked in is like, dude's hands are blue.
Oh, yeah.
He's on brand.
We were like, did he just dye them today? Or it's like, no, it's like every day.
For 30 years, I've had blue fingers.
Yeah, that was another thing. We had to obviously take turns in doing the activities because one of us had to film. But I was like, I really wanted to film this one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But the thing is, it made more sense of the activities that we did, like, because I did doing textiles things. I don't know, I felt more comfortable in doing that. And when you were doing like the knife making, that was very you. So I'm a samurai. No, but I meant like designing a knife and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it was more you.
I love some of the slow-mo shots coming up when we're filming this. That's probably my other favourite shots of the whole project.
I love just being there.
But also, I remember talking with this guy and we'd had this sort of loose idea beforehand of, wouldn't it be great to get some kind of interview-style shots with each of the craftsmen? And it was very difficult to get that to happen because it wasn't really in the plan beforehand. It was sort of our idea we were bringing on the fly, which of course to go against anything in the plan is, you know, stressful. So we got a few.
Yeah, but that also makes sense as to why there was no like interview part with the first guy in Wajima Island. Because he would have been really good for an interview as well because he was really, really chatty. But I think we didn't know.
Have the time on it.
Yeah, we didn't know how this film was going to go. And we were like, why don't we interview one of them? And then that's halfway through. But I guess that's why it shows that. And some didn't want to be on camera either.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that I did with this is, so we had a translator with us and she was great actually because she'd worked on film projects before. So she was very aware of knowing not to translate stuff at the time that you, as in not over speaking them because you want the recording of just them. So she always gave great pauses between translating and having it happen. So we got clean audio every time. But to prepare for each of the questions when we came up, I would hand over 3 questions that I'd thought about as we were doing the activity and give them over. But what happened and was evident in this very first one is you give the questions, you prepare them, and they give a very straight and solid answer, but it sort of lacked that natural ability that natural emotion because they were expecting the question.
It was like you wanted a conversation rather than an interview.
So then what I did was I asked a 4th question on the fly.
That was a very good
and
question.
I remember this one, I asked him, I can't remember what the question was, but I asked him a very cheeky question.
Oh no, it's do you think you're the best?
Yeah.
That was it.
And he obviously was caught off guard with it, but it gave like a natural expression. And then, as expected, they gave the most humble of answers.
It was the perfect answer.
Yeah. Took that approach for every interview thing that we did. And you just get a nice warm expression from everyone.
I was surprised to learn that to create this blue is actually a process of fermentation, using a living body of various different plants and organisms in a liquid substance.
Pressure.
The process of dyeing the
I love
fabric
little
isn't actually
audio
based
clips
on
like
how
that. Yeah,
the
the slow-mo.
liquid, but actually
Those
when
water
it
droplets.
oxidizes and
I remember you were so excited to show me that you got it.
I don't normally do slow-mo, but when it works, it works.
And vivid indigo blue.
Yeah, the drip over the hand. Oh, that one!
Watanabe-san was a true master of his craft.
Their
Very
artwork.
humble
We bought one of their bags.
Yeah.
Most expensive tote bag we've ever bought, but I love it.
And we bought 2 coasters for our friends as well. Such a good present to get.
As the last producer of Aizome in the Gujo Hachiman area, he is the stronghold for this traditional blue fabric.
そうですね。郡上はまず一つはすごく自然に恵まれてて、
His opening and welcoming nature was evident throughout all of his work and his studio. I love the graphic styles and the detail to some of the illustrations applied to the blue. You could really tell just how eager he was to
I just love that blue so much.
These products and to continue the tradition.
We wanted everything.
Yeah.
Indigo blue has been one of the most noticeable things I've seen when walking around Japan. And I'm so happy
there it is.
The production
That's our bag.
learn the process of how this subtly iconic feature is produced.
Yeah, this audio transition.
In
I love that.
City, we met with Aoyama-san, a master of Kusano Kashiragama, famous for his mastery of Shiro Tenmoku, the white-style tea bowl. Walking through the studio, we were met.
I got to admit, of all the people we met, I was most intimidated by this guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of how prestigious he was.
Oh, yeah.
The level of his work and the reach that he's done is phenomenal. And the whole time we were there, or at least the first half of it, I guess because I didn't understand his accent and I didn't understand what he was saying, but I was really conscious and worried that we were wasting his time.
Oh,
but
no.
As it transformed, and then towards the end of the time we were there, and we got to relax with him having some tea, and I realized that, this is just his game face. This is his professional presentation on what he does. And then it just all clicks, and I was like, what we've just captured was just how seriously he takes everything. Yeah, then you got to sort of relax afterwards and chat about things, and he's a bit of a joker. And
every artist obviously went through their work, and I don't know, it just showed that he loved what he did so much.
They all did.
And yeah.
Of bespoke pottery. And again, upon immediate reflection, you can tell that there are thousands of hours of experience here.
This was the project that made me want to look ahead at my retirement
and how it's evolved over the years.
Go and do some pottery. I wanted to come back and look up the nearest place to do some pottery classes.
It was amazing to see just how fast he could work.
Do you remember?
He's been making pottery
I can't remember if we got a clip of the stick later. Maybe we do, but that stick that he was using, I remember asking him, because he was saying about this stick that he'd had for like a long time. I want to say 20, 30 years or something. And did he say that it was passed to him from his father or something? Or, I don't know, there was something
I think that's the answer you hoped it was.
No, he said something about it that was like a long sort of, it had history to this stick. So I went to ask him something to try and get a quote of him saying what the stick meant to him. And I said something along the lines of, with this being such an old thing, like, how does it make you feel to use that? And his response was just like, I don't know, I could find another one in the garden.
Yeah, no, but I think that's what it was. His stick was, there wasn't really any meaning. He was like, I just found it.
Yeah. And then he said about his old ones, and to be fair, he had kept them because he had them wedged up in the beams of the ceiling. And he was like, here was my old one. And he pulls that out. And I swear there was one he said from his dad. I was like, oh, does that mean a lot to you? And he was just like,
yeah, just no.
Sometimes they just catch you off guard. You try and get a story out of someone, and it's just, that's not the story to be told.
Clearly tell. From when he started producing things right in front of us.
That could have been a thumbnail as well.
Plates, bowls and cups in a matter of minutes with seemingly no effort at all.
Just the muscle memory.
Just the process of how his hands were moulded around the clay, you could really tell that this was a muscle memory hard at work. I was mesmerised to watch the pottery being made right in front of me. I feel very lucky to have been able to witness another master at work producing some great
spin the subject and then work on an area.
Do you remember he said that he thinks that he could only make 3 identical ones, because after like the 4th one, there is a tiny bit of difference to the third,
the process of making
the first
pottery,
one.
I was amazed to see that there weren't really any modern tools involved. Everything was all done with his hands. In fact, probably the only modern thing available in
looks
sight
so easy.
was the bucket to hold the water. Even the
and you
tool
were like, yeah, I
he
could
used
do that.
to spin the potter's wheel was just a branch found out in the garden. When making my own cup, I failed multiple times. As soon as I put my hand to the clay, everything just started to fall apart. It seemed I could build it up to about 50% of the way there and then within a second bring it crashing back down to 10%. So with quite a lot of help from Aoyama-san, I was eventually able to get to a level of a cup that I was pretty happy with.
We got there in the end. Yeah.
What struck me most was how open he was for teaching other people.
Yeah, you can really tell just on body language, it was like a switch, I felt. Like he went from being, here's my professional work, to then being, let me teach you. And I don't know, I'd noticed a different energy about it that realized I had nothing to worry about before.
Yeah, that's so weird that you thought that. I don't know, maybe it's because I understood him.
Yeah, maybe. I couldn't understand the words and his accent was different.
Yeah.
And to me it just felt like, well, if I'm going to get a shot, I can't ask him to do anything a second time because he's not going to like that.
No,
but,
yeah.
He would have been fine, but that was just how I was worried and felt pressured to get it right. But the shots we did get, I loved. And there was so much of this that we didn't include. This really was one of those times where you just had to kill your best shots a lot of the time.
Had to cut it down.
Yeah.
Also how he actually thought about the products that he was making. Offering insight into thinking more deeply about who you're making the product for. Whether that's thinking of your wife, your children, or the company who commissioned it, you can create a deeper connection into the product.
Love the shot on this.
In his natural habitat.
What's so great about this is there's no external lighting or anything. There was no setup about it. It was a case of, I asked, can we do a little shot with him? And they're like, oh, where would you like to sit? And I was like,
here looks nice.
There. Have we got a minute? And he just sits down and it just frames it amazing because his studio is a work of art as well. Just endlessly jealous of that sort of character that you get of a room. And the lighting was great.
Yeah, it was
such good lighting. Did it have a skylight or something? It was.
No, I think it just had those panel lights. Like it felt like a classroom.
Yeah.
Almost.
And it just made it so easy to get wide shot and tight shot with the same lens pretty much. Seeing shots like this, I want to make.
What struck me as most impressive was how he was
films.
able to replicate the same cup over and over again, even to the same size and volume. So once again, thanks to his patience, and thank you for the cup that I eventually made. I think I did about 4% of this. One of Japan's strongest assets is its steel. Historically from sword making and now into
this one I was very excited for.
Seki City is known as the City of Blades and is one of the origins for this long-standing history. I had the pleasure of making
actually fun fact. Do you remember at this point the tourism for Gifu was like, oh yeah, there's a news crew that wants to do an interview with you. NHK.
Yeah, so I ended up on TV just giving like a brief rundown. What did they ask me? They were just kind of like,
what are you doing?
What are you making? What's happening? And
because they were promoting his company too.
Yeah, on projects like this, along the way, you have your sort of regional sort of partners with you. And it's very common on a Japanese press trip to have about 8 or 9 people just behind you, just all the time, just filming, no matter what. They're just there behind silently. And even if you're vlogging, they're just always behind the camera. You've always got an audience, which you obviously never see in the video. So you have your regional ones, but then you also have the local town-specific representatives that take a jolly out. And yeah.
Well, I think it's because they want to make sure that everything runs smoothly.
Yeah.
And just to make sure that you're getting the shot.
Actually host you.
Yeah.
But it can be a bit nerve-wracking to just... Normally, when we're doing videos and films for ourselves, it's just us two.
There's no audience.
And just out in public. But to do it there with 9 people just looking over, and they're not they're not judging. They're being,
but they're also taking photos of you doing it too,
just to document it and put it into a spreadsheet of project complete or whatever. And half the time they maybe don't understand what I'm saying because I'm speaking at a speed faster than they know English at. But yeah, it's a very common thing in Japan. We don't have that on other projects that we've done.
I've wanted to do for a very long time. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to produce from the very, very outset of the steel, so we started with a basic structure and then took time to buff it and sharpen it into a working, finished product. I absolutely adore the Damascus pattern on the knife. It just glimmers so much in the light.
This guy was a great teacher.
It's definitely a product that
This one was really fun to film.
What's made even more special about it is the fact that I worked on it to get it to where it is today.
Use that knife every day.
To the other handcrafts we've experienced on this trip, this was by far the most industrial. It didn't have as much of a delicate approach to the others, but the actual product
I love this soundtrack.
Is very, very delicate. This just shows a complete other side to
I think you found the majority of the music for this.
Yeah, I did.
Well done.
From the samurai era of swordsmanship.
So I don't think we mention it in the video. Did I talk about the writing on it? I don't think I do.
No, I don't think so. What's a voiceover? I don't think you say.
Yeah, but they were saying like, oh, you can you can initial it if you want. You can write something on your knife. And again, being pressured and on the spot, I was like, oh, I hadn't thought about this. I don't know what to put. And they're like, yeah, just you can write your name if you like. And I thought, no, I don't want to write my name. Let's go for something that's related to the fact that Seki City is famous for making swords. So that actually says samurai. So we just wrote samurai on a knife.
It's a lot of work to sharpen a blade to Japanese standards, but I was insanely impressed by how sharp it was against a sheet of paper, something you wouldn't normally use a blade on.
Yeah, the sharpness on the paper, it reminds me we need to sharpen it again actually.
Yeah.
Again, the openness to being taught how to produce something was so evident here.
Good lighting.
I really am truly thankful for being shown the processes and being given the time and patience to actually make something.
Samurai Joe.
今日ジョーさん作ったのは、ジョーさんね一生懸命作っていただいたからとても良かったと思いますね。ハイテクの技術もありますから本当に関のナイフは今はもう本当に世界一だと思いますので、ぜひ広めてください。
Our last chapter.
Oh, the smell of this place.
Oh my god, I love this place.
Production of masu.
I think of all of the places, this one probably had the most amount of footage that didn't make it into the thing.
Really?
Yeah, there was a lot. I was running about. There was so much that caught my eye.
Oh yeah, actually, that's true.
I think a lot of it was because it was audibly. I was being drawn to noises of things. I was like, oh, what's that? I want to film that. And what's happening over there?
Well, it's because, in the factory?
Yeah, I guess.
Workshop, yeah. You could see each of the process happening.
I can't explain how good it smelt in this place as well.
The wood. Hinoki wood.
Just the filings of wood on the ground.
I can remember the smell.
Mm-hmm. A small wooden box, originally used to measure rice and even as a form of currency, now more commonly known for drinking sake.
There's a lot of iPhone footage in here as well.
Also had a very industrial
I wish we bought more from here.
The smell was what hit you immediately. You could almost taste the flavour of the hinoki wood.
Even just a shot like that, I think adds so much to this, but that was grabbed very quickly as we were being shuffled out. It's like,
oh yeah.
It's
like, Joe,
we've got to go. And I'm like, just quickly do it. I don't think it was even meant to be in slow-mo.
No.
I think the camera was just left in slow-mo from the last shot. And we did it. And I remember reviewing it back and thinking, like, that was a great shot. We were sounding so unprepared for this whole thing. It was more just a case of we were just so excited about how much was happening.
And there was a set time that we were there for. And
could have gone in any number of directions.
Yeah. And of course, that time was for us to do the activity, the set activity. But we wanted to film more than actually do the activity.
Yeah.
So we were like, rushed in so many areas. We filmed so much.
Yeah.
Prized types of wood in Japan. With a water.
To go to this.
It's perfect for making
sake tasting. That was a good one.
There was so much activity happening
as well. We had more sake before that we. I remember we tried to film because it was a fizzy one. We tried to film the pop, and it was the most underwhelming pop.
It was a really good one, though. Yeah. I remember really liking it.
Tasted so much. So yeah, from here onwards, we were obviously like pretty boozed up.
Mm-hmm.
I was completely fascinated watching all the different elements coming together. But it was the efficiency and the accuracy that really stands out here. Ohashi Ryoki is known as the Masu company.
You cut out the whole print screen.
Yeah, I didn't like the print, to be honest.
Oh, I really loved do you know what? It was the first tester that was really good, but then the second one kind of didn't work out as well.
Yeah, do you remember we...
But I didn't record the first one.
Yeah, so it was we screen printed the Masu. It was like a red, I want to say.
Green.
Yeah, and green on the other side, or green on the bottom.
Oh, I don't remember. I only remember.
Or did we do green on both? I don't know. It was like a screen print over it, but I really loved just the raw, natural wood look to it. But they wanted to show us how you can screen print it, but we messed it up.
Yeah.
The screen print, it leaked some of the ink through, so it just smudged and it looked a bit blurry, which happens. And I was just a bit disappointed, and we were like pressed for time, and then they just said, oh, if you want, we can just shave off a thin layer of the wood and restore it back to the previous wood. And I was like, brilliant, because then we've done the screen print, we've experienced that, but we still come away with a clean non-ink version, which I personally wanted a pure wooden. I didn't want a print on it.
Yeah, but you asked for that, so you got it. Because they were like, oh no, but do you not want the print? And you were like, no, I like it plain.
Yeah.
Plain. And they were like, oh, okay. So then they shaved it off and they're like, here you go.
Yeah, and I was over the moon. I loved it.
Held their name based on their quality and attention to detail and accuracy. A very simple box.
Oh no, and then there was a stamp.
Delicate nature into the
there's the heat stamp that we did.
With a very systematic process. It's why it's actually common for it to be used in ceremonial purposes, because there's deeper meaning.
I remember that glue being really strong.
It's also a perfect souvenir to take away from Japan. From the many experiences I had in Gifu, I definitely came to understand the truth in the trust.
Do you remember also, so when we went to this place and they were asking us like, these are the boxes, do you know what they're for? And we were like, yeah, it's for measuring rice. And or drinking sake, and they were like, oh, you know about the rice? And it turns out a lot of people don't actually use these to measure rice. They just use a plastic cup or something.
It's a very olden,
very traditional way
of measuring rice, but that's how I grew up with it in my household, and I still have it with me. So
yeah, it's the only way I've known to measure rice. I just thought everyone measured their rice with this.
Well, I think it's because those squares were never accurate.
Well, they're not from here. They're not from Hinoki.
They were never an accurate measurement, but I still have mine.
Yeah. I mean, they're accurate to itself.
Yeah.
As long as you measure to itself, it's fine.
In Gifu, I definitely came to understand the truth in the trustful and patient,
and how fast they were as well.
Very punctual personalities.
Slightly wrong. Yeah, thank you.
Even in the depth of what we saw.
I love this shot as well.
I remember getting this.
This could have been a thumbnail as well.
Of what this culture can do. As a creator, one of the most inspiring aspects of...
Just I want to point out the choice of that because it was a xylophone wooden compound. Like that.
All of the places that we visited was just the setup and the workspace. The lighting, the layout, and the visually evident characters of each of the workspaces.
Oh, this was hot.
To me.
So hot. I mean, you can see the dude with the towel.
That was his son.
Yeah.
Detail and the mastery. But having experienced time with these artists directly, my appreciation has been elevated.
Yeah, we went to a tile museum that's got cut.
The thing with arts,
we've done a lot on our stories, but
oh yeah, story highlights one of my favorites.
Yeah, but we did cut it from the film.
Personal priority. I have no doubt the artists we've encountered
Oh,
have
it
been
gives me
truly
shivers.
successful and very well respected within their communities for maintaining traditions and adding their own creativity. But I also expect many of these artists have also suffered from times of low business or difficult decisions both financially and emotionally. It's a process all artists go through, and their passion and determination to continue is what commands my highest respect. This is the epitome of art in the heart. It's been an absolute pleasure to experience all of these craftsmen and to see their work firsthand.
I love having like a recap at the end of a video.
I think we were deciding how to recap the video as well.
So I want to thank all of the artists and producers involved for giving their time for making this happen.
I think the one thing that's so enjoyable for us on this is, like, yes, it's a piece of work and it's a film that we've made, but we're just so personally invested into it, in what we did as an experience, but also how we filmed and edited it. Overall, that's what makes it so enjoyable as a thing to look back on. And yeah, doing a recap like this is just like a second recap, because to us, the whole video is a recap of the trip that we did. And so it's like a summary of like, wasn't that a great trip?
I think I remember writing the script of how to tie all of them together, the storyline. And then we're like, yes, there was a common theme.
This is how it fits.
Yeah, this is a common theme of just, the artists coming together and appreciating what they do and just loving what they do.
Definitely.
And how long they've done it for.
Yeah.
It's definitely been one of the most memorable trips to Japan I've ever had. This only has me further excited to experience more arts and crafts in other regions.
Oh. Do you remember we did a matcha ceremony, actually? There's one clip. Of,
Kanazawa, wasn't it?
Yeah. In that park.
First morning. Oh, my first morning.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
2019. Different world then. That touches me. You crying?
I'm not. Do you want to look at questions?
Yeah, let's see if we got any questions that came in, because I posted on my stories. Yeah, a lot of them we've actually discussed already. This is an interesting question, actually. So Josh has asked, did we make a shot list before we went and piece it together? And I'm going to say no.
No.
But we definitely had some idea of like a safety net. So it was like, okay, we're going to go and we'll see what we can get. But if we can't, at least get something on the macro, because it was new. Something of me like talking as a backup vlog. And then I always wanted something of just the sort of workspace and scene.
I just remembered another amazing town that we completely cut was where you did your iPhone video.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely want to go back there. And there were loads of responses to my story when we did our day there.
The reason it didn't make the cut in here is because it didn't actually fit to the narrative of the artisan, because we didn't see any crafts being made there. It was more a case of it was on the way in between locations. Yeah, what was it called?
Beginning with M.
Magome?
Magome? Yeah, maybe Magome.
Yeah, so it didn't exactly have a shot list, but definitely had like a loose safety net idea. There's also a few questions in there kind of all along the same lines of, is there anything that we wanted to film but couldn't, or anything that we regretted not filming? And I guess for me, I wish we'd had a better sort of idea of getting the like interview style things ahead of time, just because they could have maybe been planned a little bit better on how we would integrate them into the thing. But I was also very conscious of anything that we do in that scenario is going to require a heavy amount of translation. When it comes to editing, making sure that you're actually editing it correctly, because I'm editing to a language that I don't know and you don't always feel as comfortable understanding. And it would have just been so many extra hours back and forth going between translation of getting the edit right that in hindsight could have added even bigger headaches. But going forward, it's definitely something I'd want to plan more so, because I want to make more like this, definitely. I'd love to make this in different countries as well, like a made in Germany, for example.
I was thinking the first draft that we did of you speaking, you recording yourself, talking over this video. I think when we saw it, we were like, I think it's too much of your face.
Yeah.
We wanted to strip it all and be like, it shouldn't really be about
It's not about us.
Yeah, experiencing it. It should really be about the artists.
That being said, I wish there was more clips of us with the artists, because we only really got that with the pottery and the knife making. And I love those shots because you really see that interaction. You see how much passion they have to give to other people, which we experienced through all of them, but we only really filmed it in 2 of the places, I'd say. So yeah, that's maybe something I regret not getting more of. And I guess maybe also more of the actual journey aspect, like the shots in between the towns from the bus, which I was filming a lot of, but none of them came together to really help the narrative. It just made the pacing too jarring. So I guess I wish I got them better. One thing that struck me most about Japan's artisans, Kat has asked, I think the thing that always stood out to me is that no matter what, and it was repeatable every single time, they were always very humble, very well experienced, but how much they wanted to share.
Yeah, I'd say our translator who was with us, she would be like, we researched as well of all these people that we were going to meet. And it pretty much says like, they're the best, they're the top tier of people making all this stuff. And then when you meet them, they're like, I'm not the best. I'm not the best. Like, I've done it for a long time. But I'm like, but you are the best.
Yeah. It's like hanging out with David Beckham.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, kick about.
I'm not the best.
Yeah, real top tier artisans. Globally, not just Japan. It made me appreciate so much, like they call Ishikawa and Gifu the heartland of Japan because it is where so much of Japanese manufacturing and craftsmanship is based. It's all from that central region. And it just made me realize that that's where I feel like I fit so much into Japan. I feel like I just connected so much with the creativity there, and Gifu especially. We'll go back there another time.
Yeah, it was good.
When we can travel again. For sure, I want to be making more projects like this. If I could make if everything we made was like this, that's the dream, that's the goal. At the same time, we love making vlogs and we love doing those types of videos, but having these big projects dotted throughout the year, it really helps just push things further on the quality and the level that we want to make. And these are the projects that we want to be doing, and I can only hope that putting this out and the response it has had is sitting somewhere with someone else who would like to commission something similar.
I was going to say the reason of why we're proud of it is because it was a great collaboration.
It just fit.
Yeah, when you get
communication was so good as well.
Yeah, when you get a brief that you're so excited to do, and it wasn't just us making it, it's what we experienced and what we wanted to promote as well. This is genuinely what we wanted to show people of there is another side to Japan.
Well, also there's another side to us and to our work that we put out on YouTube. Is not just, talking to a camera all the time. These are the things that we're interested in, that we want to share, and building up the channel to this level has allowed us to do that, and that's in part thanks to you. So
yeah, we want to be behind the camera as much as in front, I guess.
Yeah, the whole thing just has come full circle, and it's just a big sort of creative energy, and that's what I mean by the art and the heart. It is it's just so naturally artistic and creative, and that's what I want to spread all the time. I always want to inspire others to be creative and artistic, and I think we'd solve so many world problems if that was in everyone's blood. This has been fun to film. I feel like we've done a little podcast. This is like the start of like a video podcast thing that I want to do for next year.
I think it's a long one.
So thanks for sticking around this whole duration. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy Made in Japan as much as we do. And thanks for your support on the channel and through watching this. I must say, actually, just one final note. Obviously, this year has been a difficult year for making things and for staying afloat on stuff. But this one film has kept the channel afloat. It's brought in the views.
If you've rewatched it, thank you.
Yeah, it's brought in the views. I think it's brought in about 80% of all views for the whole channel. Maybe not 80%, at least 50% of all views this year, I think, have come from this video. It's just really sort of helped keep the channel alive where we've not been publishing as frequently for obvious reasons. But yeah, I definitely want to be making more like this. It's worth the energy and time that went into making it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Sometimes looking back on how we filmed it is all such a blur because of the timing of us being on the project and literally no sleep. And I think, you know, when you were finessing it and you were like, oh, I'm going to publish it now. We were watching it. Like, how has this turned out?
Where did that come from?
Yeah, how did we pull this off? Because I was not in that mindset at the very beginning.
Yeah, it so almost could have just been a throwaway vlog. Not that vlogs are throwaway, but you know what I mean. Like just I don't know. We could have just documented a week and
oh my God, that
hung out.
Yeah.
What's funny as well, actually, I was going to say this is probably the lowest paid sponsored thing we've done as well.
Yeah, right.
And it's the most heart and energy that we've put into it.
It just shows what we can do, what we want to do.
Definitely.
More of. So, yeah. Oh, Japan.
Yeah.
Of course we miss it.
We will be there as soon as
we're allowed.
As soon as we are allowed and it's possible and it's safe and it's everything. So, yeah. Anyway, so thanks for watching this. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you want to see more things like this sort of hangout style video, let us know. It's been fun to make and hope you enjoy it. And we'll catch you in the new year with some more stuff. Who knows what's going to happen?
2021.
Anyway, see you later, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.